What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone for another daily news video on this Wednesday already, 2 days ahead of the game. Match day content will start rolling out from tomorrow, previews and all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. But in this video, we are going to talk about it being over for Iling-Junior at the club. That's the main topic, and also a big ADZIC update from Romeo Agressi, which we're going to tackle. Before we do that, like the video as always, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification. Let's go. Okay, so I think everybody got the news now, and I don't actually think you really needed to get any updates on it, but there are some big updates from good sources, and actually it's coming from every single source out there, and there's no denying at all, from sources or any sources. It's very, very obvious what the club is thinking about Junior. And forget about the news for a bit. Even if that news wasn't there, I think it's very obvious that it's pointless. And when I say it's pointless for him. He's 20. He needs to play. What's happening now with him at the club is just good for absolutely nobody. He's not getting any minutes. Not when we're up. Not when Kostic has been running, being ran into the ground again. He's not getting minutes, and nobody knows why. Like, even if you're the biggest Allegri fan, I think you will struggle to explain as of why he's not getting minutes. Because it's not making sense. It's not that Kostic is lighting the world on fire. Absolutely not. It's not even close. So it's a crazy decision that he's not playing. And I think based on that, I already made my peace with it. If you listen to the shows, I've said it weeks ago. He's gone. He's gone because why would he stay? Why? Like, even if the club didn't want to sell, he's probably going to push for it, if he gets offers, because this is ridiculous at this moment in time. And the news is from Nizar, which is a good source, but like the news is from everywhere. He's saying Tottenham are leading the race for Samuel Iling-Junior. He's valued at, if you read the article, it's around 20 million euros by Juve, and he could potentially return to England. That being said, so it's a sad thing, and we personally, and maybe we will do that later on, we need to talk about this youth thing, because if you just sit back and take 2 steps back and really look into it, because we are all hyped about Sule and Junior and Miretti and Hoyson and Yildiz and whatever, name it, or Nonge potentially coming through. They're not playing. It's as simple as that. Yildiz and Hoyson got nothing minutes. Like, I'm not even counting that as minutes. It's nothing. Junior got nothing this season. Last season, weirdly enough, yes, but this season, no. He's not playing. Miretti played half the minutes of what's out there available to play. Fagioli, if you want to count Fagioli in that group, is obviously out. Sule is doing it at another team. If you want to include Barrenechea, also at another team. Hoyson and Yildiz are not playing. So when you just actually sit back and really let it sink in, and again, I'm not saying play all 7 of them straight in the lineup. That's not what I'm saying. But if you just sit back and you really think about it, the buzz around it is just really our excitement and our, desire to potentially see them play. But if you just sit back and you look at it, you're like, they're not playing, They're in and around the team, but for what? To keep the good vibes? And at one point, you also need to debate the point that, is that really the idea to play them? Are they really that bad? You start to question what you potentially think, because what else is there to think about? Because it's not that the players, yes, we're winning, but like performances, individual performances, they're not brilliant. We need to be honest with that as well. So if you just look at it, they're not really being involved. Like, it's all being hyped and talked about, but the vibes you're getting, and especially the last couple of days, is that you thing is there to cash in. And yes, they're not all gonna make it, but we're in a position that you need to take full advantage of them. You need to test them out. You need to see if they can hold on. Because if you're not gonna do that, okay, you're gonna cash in, but what's the point? And I'm not even talking about the Yildiz news coming out, Arsenal interested and Liverpool interested, and news saying the club will accept 40 million. That's like just that's guessing at this point because nobody's gonna offer 40 million euros for Yildiz. And well, if somebody offers 40 million euros, the club is gonna jump on it because they've not seen anything from Yildiz besides youth level teams and playing for the national team. Weirdly enough, so that part of the news is a bit, taking advantage of the potential weird situation at the club. But this one is for certain, or like for certain, this is very obvious that they're just gonna move him on, And even with the Sule thing, we can question: is he actually gonna return? If you hear Juntili talk about it, so this is a very sad situation. I'll repeat it one more time. I don't know if he's gonna be a top player. I don't even know if he's gonna be a very good player. He can turn out to be your average player playing for Crystal Palace. However, we've not we we don't have a big enough sample size on it to claim he's not going to be that guy, because we've not seen enough of him. The little spells we saw from him, they look good. They look like, okay, he has some sort of potential. There is a player in them. He can change a game. He can bring something to the team that is absolutely lacking at this moment in time, or in certain games, certain moments of the games. However, the sample size is not there. So I will be also wrong to say, oh my God, we're losing an absolutely superstar, because I don't know. I have no clue about it. However, it's just sad that we've not seen anywhere near enough to actually make our mind up, because you will have people saying, oh, Allegri knows best. Does he? Like, does he? Well, where's the proof the last couple of years that he knows best? So you cannot use that as an excuse to say, oh, they know they're gonna sell Junior. I'm like, this is really sad, and I get the plusvalenza part and where the club's situation is at the moment in time. But when I look around and I'm like, okay, and I still get it, but it's still frustrating that other players are getting chance after chance after chance at the club when they're clearly not good enough or haven't been good enough, or you're looking at them and like, this is it. This is the ceiling. Like, you're not going to get anything better out of it. And forget about that plusvalenza part, because like when I speak on McKennie, you're not going to make plusvalenza on McKennie. I get that. It's not like the Junior situation. However, what I'm talking about is potential. I've not seen Junior's ceiling. I've just seen minutes. I've seen McKennie's ceiling, and that ceiling is not that great. It like, for all the hard work he's putting in this season, and credit to him because he did turn around. He had an awful spell at Leeds, and even before he left Leeds with us. But other than that, I've seen his ceiling, and his ceiling is not impressive at all, not one bit. I've not seen anything close to from Junior's potential at the highest level. Because there's been no consistency. So that is the very sad part. But I made my peace with it that he's gone, and for his own sake, I hope he leaves, because he's just wasting his time. He really is wasting his time. So let's see how that will develop. But it's a real thing, and it's a real possibility at this moment in time. The other part of the news is from Romeo Agresti. He finally, like, it's the first time he talked about transfers in, I don't know, months, really. So, and this was one of those players. It's ADZIC, where we discussed it on the channel, and we said, like, oh, first team, Di Marzio was saying first team and all those things, and it just sounded weird. But Romeo kind of confirmed that. He said Juve is in the race for ADZIC. There have been new contacts even recently, but they're not leading the race, basically. Amidst competition and considerations about the non-UA slot he would occupy in the summer. So unless the rules didn't change, you can sign 2 every single season. And apparently, if you sign them for the under 23s, they cannot feature for the first team if you buy 2 others, basically. That's what the rules said last season. I didn't look it up because I needed to make it on the fly. I don't believe they have changed, but even if the numbers have changed, that's what the club is thinking about. And it does make a lot of sense, because he's 17 years old. What are the chances of him coming in, taking up a spot, and something else to say on those spots, but taking up a spots and Allegri actually playing it instead of betting him in? Then you have a transfer that's just not going to have an effect on the team because knowing Allegri, he's not going to get any significant minutes to make an impact, and then you wasted a slot on a player that potentially could have come in and do a job. That's why I've always said January transfer window, all good, summer, but you need to know, is Allegri going to be there? Because if Allegri is going to be there, the direction is very clear. Forget about the youth thing. It's a mid. It really is a mid. It's all buzz. It's all, oh, they're in and around the team, but they're actually not contributing. So forget about that. Clear. He's playing Alexandro, who is gone, instead of the players that are going to be here. Just let that sink in. So that being said, it's good that we're in for him. And again, I'm not going to say I know anything close about the player, just what I looked up myself, and that's not a lot because it's not a lot out there. So I trust Juntali to make these decisions. That's what we all wanted. That's what we all, were kind of hyped about when he came in. But this is what I've talked about. You need to make clear-minded decisions. You need to be very careful. Everything you do now in the transfer window needs to hit. If Allegri is going to say it's going to go one direction, if he's not leaving, it's going to flip. But you cannot make any silly mistakes. You cannot waste a spot and then you have a player sitting the bench, riding the bench for like 38 games basically. Then what is the point of doing that? So a lot of decisions need to be made, and it's just hoping that they make the right decisions. This is working as of now, in terms of winning games. Long term, I don't see it being a very good solution. And with the money we have, I don't see how it's going to change radically in the summer, in terms of we're going to flip the switch and we're going to change the style of play under Allegri with a limited budget. I just don't see that happening. And that's why I'm saying, be careful with the signings you make. And also that youth thing is kind of iffy in my opinion. But yeah, that's the daily news updates. So let me know what you think of the junior news, especially because I think it's written in the stars that he's gonna leave in the summer. So let me in January. So let me know what you make about that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will be back later today. Ciao.